What up, Doe? We're back. Welcome to the Mortgage Mayhem podcast, the unfiltered, unbothered breakdown of money markets and mayhem. I'm your humble host, G Money, and today's show is packed from student loan damage to the realities of DEI rollbacks, from cash in your hand to cracks in your credit score. We're talking about everything today that impacts your wallet and your worldview. Later in the show, we'll be getting down and doing a deep dive on eMortgage Capital for a real close look at what it is that they do, see how they can be of some help. And we're going to, of course, have our 4 mortgage hacks. Can't wait to get into those. Got some good ones for y'all today. So let me play a little something real quick just to cover us as we give y'all this dope information we about to give you.
We break down the deals, the drama, and the data behind the scenes of real estate finance, with a twist of street smarts, savvy, and a touch of madness. Before we dive in, here's the deal. The Mortgage Mayhem podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We are not attorneys, CPAs, or licensed financial advisors, and nothing you hear on this show should be taken as legal, financial, or investment advice. Always consult a licensed professional before making financial decisions. Well,
all right, we got that past us. Got a lot of stuff going on today, guys. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. Of course, y'all know we at war, which is crazy. A lot of stuff going on there. Bombs going back from from Iran to. It's just a lot of, back and forth, a lot of bombing, a lot of the president, doing what it is that he do. So it's a lot going on here in America. I hope everybody's safe and secure out there. But we're going to get it started. Let's see where we want to go first. Nope. Let's go fully. Yeah. Where are we at? Okay. All right, so let's start off with the U.S. government fully resumed federal student loan collections in 2025. Millions of Americans are seeing big drops in their credit scores. Just 90 days of missing payments now means your loan servicer can report you as delinquent, with hits in your credit almost as hard as bankruptcy. Wow. For many, this makes it tougher to get approved for housing, jobs, or even basic financial products like credit cards. According to the Federal Reserve, how bad is it? 2.2 million borrowers lost 100 points from their credit score. Another 1 million saw a drop of 150 points or more. Even just a 50, 60 point drop can put someone into subprime territory, making it harder and more expensive to rent or borrow money. Real people. Kate Hatchett from Detroit, her score fell 57 points. She's trying to juggle loan payments with medical bills and can't afford the new $358 a month payment. Dom Holmes from Pennsylvania lost 67 points with no warning. He's appealing the hit and worried it could stop him from moving for work. Andrew McCall, age 58, still owes $30K and can't keep up. He says credit scores are now like a social status badge that controls everything. Loan payments were paused from March 2020 due to COVID. They resumed in 2023, but most people didn't feel the pressure until the grace period ended in October 2024. Now, under the Trump administration, the collections are full force again. The government may garnish wages or seize tax refunds from non-payers. Some people say they never got billing notices. Can't wait times are long. Call wait times are long. Layoffs at the Department of Education are slowing things down as well. What this means going forward, experts say this will affect the entire economy. People might not prioritize student loan payments over credit cards or even rent to avoid government penalties. Older borrowers, especially those over 40, are being hit the hardest. So, once again, these student loan, payments are what they are. They've been there. They're not going anywhere. So folks got to figure out a way to get with whoever they're borrowing from, whoever they got the student loans from, and come up with some kind of payment plan that's going to allow them to not keep getting, in trouble on their credit. This is crazy. 60, 70, 150 point drop on your credit is devastating. And I get it. It's a new administration. They're coming in with, a whole guns a blazing, and they're going to just do things the way they want to do it. And the quicker we realize that and understand that, the better off, we're going to be out here in the world. So, I know there's a way. I know it's kind of new. Everybody's rushing because this is just kind of coming from out of nowhere. But at the end of the day, you still have to figure out a way that will allow you to handle your business and not put yourself further in debt, not, allow your credit to be hit to the point where you can't take advantage of future opportunities. It's just like any other payment. You got to make the payment. You took the loans out. I know it was a moment there where a lot of people thought they were going to be forgiven, but that wasn't the case. Some people were lucky and got theirs forgiven early in the Biden administration, but from the looks of it, the Trump administration doesn't want to play ball with any kind of forgiveness. So if I was you guys, I would get with my servicer and get this thing figured out so it can quit damaging your credit. It's just sad to see. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's keep it moving. We'll keep our eye on that. Any updates come our way, we'll bring it forth. We'll talk about it. But in the meantime, in between time, let's keep it moving. All right, so that was that there. Where is our corporate sponsors across America are pulling their support for Juneteenth celebration, Trump's anti-DEI executive order. I know we've already had Juneteenth, but I wanted to kind of bring this up just to kind of get people aware of what's going on. Juneteenth celebration, the cutback, and events across the country are being scaled due to financial difficulties as public and corporate support for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives declines. Many cities and organizations are grappling with reduced funding stemming from canceled federal grants and a noticeable shift by businesses away from public expressions of social values. These financial strains have affected the ability of communities to host parades, festivals, and other celebration tied to the June 19th federal holiday, which marks the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. This drop in support coincides with broader political moves to dismantle DEI programs, most notable by President Trump, who has actively worked to roll back such initiative within the federal government. As a result, organizers are facing tough choices, often being forced to scale down or cancel their Juneteenth activities altogether. So with that, once again, it is what it is. We know what is going on as far as DEI is concerned, so we can't just continue to pretend like it's not there. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with. It's something that is unfortunate, unfortunate, of course, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So, you guys, we got to, just like everything else, once we're given something because of the past, right? Holidays, whatever the case may be, we got to always be kind of looking over our shoulders because typically what happens is, when the right person comes into play, one of the first things that to me it seems like they want to kind of, put us back behind the eight ball. They see us coming, we've made such huge strides, and at the end of the day, folks is nervous of African Americans because, like everything that we get ourselves involved in, we end up taking over. We end up being the best of the best. So I get why why they do the things that they do. I don't understand it. I don't like it at all. But at the end of the day, it's basically because they don't want to see us, have any kind of successes. They don't want us to become industry types. They want us to be worker bees. And then with that, they don't even want that. As you can tell, they're firing everybody left and right. They would much more prefer to see us on the sidelines doing nothing than for us to be out here making a way for ourselves and our families, right? So we gotta stay the course. We gotta just make sure that no matter what, we're being the best that we can be. We're not selling for wood nickels, and we're doing the best that we can do when we step into these positions. If you're starting a business, no matter what it is, you gotta always remember you always gotta work 10 times as harder than the next person. That's just the way it is, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to continue striving. It's nothing that they can actually do to us that's going to make us just go back and feel like we used to feel like we didn't have these opportunities that we have out here in the world today. We're not able to be successful in whatever it is that, we want to set our minds out to become. They can't really tell us that anymore because we have too many success stories around us. We've done it ourselves too many times, so we know what our capabilities are. And that's what's the scariest part to them. We know what we can do, and they don't want us to be able to thrive. And it's just too late for that. We're going to thrive. Yeah, it's going to be some bumps in the road because at the end of the day, they still don't want us to be great. So you got to be great no matter what. That would be the message that I would give in this case. Be great no matter what. So what, they're cutting back on things. That, before it was a DEI anything, we were making strides. So once again, they take something off the table. What we do, we get better at whatever it is that we're trying to get done. So keep striving. Don't allow the cutbacks to be something that, have you in a fetal position. Keep moving. It's too many opportunities available, right? All right, let's keep this thing moving. Hey guys, it's scorching hot here in Michigan today, but it just feel good. I haven't seen you guys since last week. I know a lot has happened since the last time we talked, but we're here. Just we're gaining more subscribers. Like I did, I shut the Monday live showdown because it gives me a opportunity to get prepared for today's show, and then it also allows me, to do the things that I need to do coming out of a weekend. I'm a busy person as well, have a ton of stuff going on, and I usually just need those Mondays to kind of decompress, set my agenda for the remainder of the week, and then get ready for the show on Tuesday as well. So I'm just happy to be here, being able to, have my own platform, being able to just kind of take it from the mud, build it from the ground up. It's just a beautiful thing. Anyway, let's keep it moving. What they're doing at the University of Michigan. According to a study by the University of Michigan economists, only 30% of Detroit residents earn a livable wage. This means that 64% do not earn a livable wage. Let me back that up. Only 36% of Detroit residents earn a livable wage. This means that 64% do not earn a livable wage. What up, though, Detroit? What is this about, right? Only 36%? That's a big gap of people that's not earning a livable wage, right? So, what this means is that despite Detroit's low cost of living, wages remain too low for most to stay afloat. The city's economic challenges are rooted in industrial decline, underemployment, and unequal access to opportunity. Without action, this wage gap fuels poverty, limits upward mobility, and harms overall well being. Solutions include raising the minimum wage, investing in job training, supporting affordable housing, and attracting better paying jobs. For Detroit's recovery to be real, it must work for everyone. If you want to be around high earning professionals in the city of Detroit, you have to get on your business, right? I don't know what's going on in Detroit. I'm in the suburbs of Detroit right now. So, and it just seems like to me, things is just on the up in Detroit. Everything's thriving. New businesses are opening left and right. A lot of African American business are, opening like left and right. So I don't really understand like why only 30% of the residents are earning a livable wage. I'm just assuming a lot of people are just kind of working, those kind of low end types of jobs. But to me, this is just room for growth, right? If this is going to be the case, you got to kind of grab your bootstraps and figure out a way that you can, be out here living, in a way that's conducive to you being able to make money, right? A livable wage is being able to pay all your bills and then have something, left over to enjoy yourself a little bit, right? And then a little something to sock away for rainy days also. So this is kind of disheartening. We're going to keep our eye on it. I don't exactly know what the issue is. I just saw this and thought we should bring it up because it doesn't make sense for a urban city like Detroit with so many resources, right? I know they were, the hub for manufacturing for a very long time, still is to a certain degree. A lot of manufacturing companies are still in Detroit. A lot of people still working for the big three. But there's only so many of those jobs. So we got to figure out other ways to attract incomes to ourselves. And to me, I think entrepreneurship is probably the best route to go. You got to figure out, and this ain't just black people, this is in general, that it's 34% living, making a livable wage. So this doesn't just include African Americans, this includes everybody. So it's just something, that we have to figure out on our own. You can't just wait by the wayside in hopes that the city is going to bring jobs back, which they may. And I'm sure more opportunities will be coming because it's Detroit. And it's the downtown is just beautiful now. Of course, there's still some petty crime. Like last night, there was a shooting at the fireworks, so it's still going to be some bad apples in the bunch. But overall, the city is beautiful. The waterfront is beautiful. Like I said, there's many eateries, many things to do, clubs. I mean, you name it, they got it in Detroit. So, we're going to just kind of keep our eye on that, see if that number can jump at some point here. But 34% is non negotiable. We got to do better than that, Detroit. Got to figure some things out. All right. Okay, let's keep this thing moving. All right. So the Trump administration considering adding 30 more countries, including Ghana, Nigeria, and St. Lucia's to their travel ban. The Trump administration is at it again, per the New York Times. They are considering expanding President Trump's new travel ban to as many as 36 additional countries, mainly in Africa and a few in the Caribbean. If you recall, this month, the president imposed a full ban on entry to the United States on citizens of Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, and the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. In addition, a partial ban on seven more, reviving a form of a much disputed policy from his first term. Reports state that the potential ban on 36 countries include St. Lucia, Ghana, and Nigeria. Is due to the Trump administration's statement that the countries must improve on certain benchmark within 60 days. The countries in question must take immediate action to mitigate ongoing vetting and screening concerns, develop corrective action plans to remedy deficiencies, and evaluate progress. The State Department said in a statement that it is committed to protecting our nation and its citizens by upholding the highest standard of national security and public safety through our visa process. Earlier this month, the African Union called on the U.S. to engage in constructive dialogue with the countries concerned. So the travel ban on these countries, I don't really know. I don't see why any travel bans on some of these European countries. Why does it have to be always? I just don't get why. To me, it just seems like it's a other thing for this administration. I don't, I don't, like I said, I don't see too many black faces in their circles. I don't see too many Hispanic faces in their circles. I don't see too many Asian faces in their circles. All I really see is white faces in their circles. So, and then it seems like anything outside of white, they're trying to put their foot on throats or belts on asses. And this is one of those cases. Of course, you want to make sure that people are coming into the country the way that they're supposed to. So, if for whatever reason I'm a little unknowledgeable about, the things that Africa is doing or not doing, I'm just saying, why is there not other European countries or other countries where Caucasians are living in, and why are they not on any of these like block lists? It's just all brown and other countries that we're talking about here. It's almost like they want to keep this beautiful country to themselves. They don't want, mind you, most of the people that's making these laws, families came from another country to come here to have a better life, to come here to be in the positions that they're in right now. You know what I'm saying? So for them to just, be brought here, however they were brought here, including ourselves, to have a problem with people from, the African continent, then I just don't really understand what this is about. I do a little bit. It's kind of giving me, a little racist element to it, but I don't know all the details of why not. And it seems like they're, whatever that why not is, at least they're allowing, these different countries to figure it out, so they can continue to keep coming to America and, living out their dreams and aspirations, bringing their families here, having their kids go to our colleges. That's why we are the United States of America. but it seems like we're starting to become inclusive. And I don't like that at all because it ain't never been that way. And most of the people, like I said, that are trying to make the country inclusive, their family members are the ones who were brought here, or they came here to get away from those types of countries, Italians, Greek, you name it. They all came here. They wasn't born, here. They came here, started families, and then from there, generations of Italians, generations of Greeks, generations of, you name it. Um, they're reaping the benefits, So when brown people or people of color want to do the same for their families, we can't have that. There's a problem. So we'll see what he's going to do. It's a lot of bluster, and coming out of his mouth at this point right now. So we'll just keep our eye on him and see if he's going to continue to signal that he doesn't want us to be here and try to do the same thing that they did. Enjoy the country that we live in, that's been so beautiful and successful for so many generations of families from other places, right? All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one as well. But I don't like that. I don't like that at all. All right, just in. Kraft Heinz announces it will eliminate all chemical dyes in its products over the next 2 years, right? So Kraft Heinz announced it would eliminate FDNC artificial dyes from all its U.S. products by the end of 2027 and won't introduce any new products that contain them. Currently, about 10% of the U.S. offerings still use these synthetic colors, found in items like Crystal Light, Kool-Aid, Mayo, Jello, and Jet Puff. The company has already taken steps in the past to clean up its ingredients, such as removing artificial additives from its Kraft macaroni and cheese in 2016, while its Heinz ketchup has never used artificial dyes. Although the move may make some products look less vibrant, Kraft Heinz sees it as a step towards offering healthier food. This decision aligns with growing government pressure to phase out artificial dyes, led by the FDA and the Department of Health and Human Services under Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The FDA plans to eliminate petroleum-based dyes like Red 40, Yellow 5, and Blue 1 by the end of next year, building on a recent ban of Red number 3 due to its cancer risk. Kraft Heinz was among several major food companies involved in discussions with federal officials about these changes. The company emphasized it's going to commit to healthier recipes, noting over 1,000 improvements made in recent years, and expressed support for working with the administration to deliver nutritious, affordable food to American families. You know what? I'm not going to even say much about this. I think this is a great thing. We need to be doing things like this because, we're not a healthy country. A lot of sick people, a lot of people getting cancer still, and a lot of it has a lot to do with the food that we eat. So one little step, towards making that better, I'm all for it. So I would definitely like to, just tip my hat to Kraft. I know a lot of people don't like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but if he could come in and although they say a conspiracy theorist and he's kind of batshit crazy, I just think, if we can get some things done that's going to benefit us in the long run, then, it is what it is, right? Mr. Kennedy Jr., comes from, of course, the Kennedy family. So although they say he ain't dealing with a full deck, so to speak, I think this is something that we all can kind of get behind because of the damage it has done, the damage that it's continued to do. A lot of our kids are, using these products, and we are as well as a country. So to make these products healthier is how could it be a bad thing, right? All right, we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what's going on, right? All right, let's keep it moving. Lawsuit to halt presidential vote. Suit claims FAMU Republican President-elect Marva Johnson was predetermined, violating state law. Board is set to vote, and this was Tuesday of last week, so I think the board voted Wednesday. I haven't gotten any feedback as of yet, as far as, or I think the vote happens tomorrow. So the next time we're here, we'll be able to speak a little bit more about it. But what they're saying is that the lawsuit that was filed says that the suit claims FAMU Republican President-elect Marvin Johnson was predetermined, violating state law. Board is set to vote today. Black millionaires, these are my guys. A lot of my articles come from them. I don't know who these guys are, but I appreciate you guys immensely. But FAMU alumni and students sued to stop presidential confirmation of Marva Johnson. A group of Florida A&M University alumni and students have filed a lawsuit to block the upcoming vote to confirm Marva Johnson as the next school's president. They claim her selection was predetermined and violated the state's constitution, compromising the fairness of the search process. Filed in Leon County Court, the 150-page lawsuit alleges that FAMU's Board of Trustees and the Florida Board of Governors pressured the search committee to keep the process secret and ignore transparency, creating an unfair advantage for Johnson. The plaintiffs, 10 students and alumni, are asking for an emergency injunction to halt Wednesday's Board of Governor vote and for independent investigation into how the search was handled. The lawsuit has sparked wider resistance, and FAMU advocacy group Keepers of the Flame is urging supporters to attend the Board of Governors meeting in Boca Raton, calling the process politically motivated. They've raised over $6,000 on GoFundMe to help students travel to the meeting. Local leaders like Leon County Commissioner Bill Proctor are also calling for a new search process, while FAMU's Board of Trustees continues to defend Johnson's nomination. Search Chair Darion Gibson said Johnson's background in education and leadership aligns with FAMU's mission. The Board of Governors is set to vote on Johnson's confirmation Wednesday afternoon. This lady right here, I don't know, man. They are really, the people at FAMU do not want her to be a part of FAMU. They're doing everything in their power to stop her from potentially getting this job. I don't know a lot about her. I know she's, from what they say, she's a MAGA Republican. But she's an executive, so I'm not gonna say she don't have the skill set. But where there's smoke, there's fire. So whatever they're talking about here, there's probably something. Excuse me, there's probably something behind it, but I don't know exactly what. We're going to keep our eyes on it. FAMU, historically, Black College, HBCU, one of the, top HBCUs that's out there. I remember when I was in high school, it was one of my options. I ended up picking TSU, but, FAMU was definitely on the radar. But, the alumni, the school, I know how these guys play when it comes to politics. So I'm not going to put it past her or put it past the board of governors, because a lot of times when they're trying to implement, something that's been a beacon in the community, something that is educating people of color and allowing people of color to be out in the world thriving and successful. Typically, they'll send one of us in to, kind of destroy that from within. And I'm thinking that's what the alumni and the students are thinking, that they're trying to bring her in so they can start destroying the university from within, turning it from, a HBCU to a university that you don't even recognize anymore. So we're going to definitely keep our eyes on that. As soon as we get some feedback, I'm pretty sure we'll have it by the time we, come here again next week, and we could talk more about it after we figure out what the decision is. All right. So let's keep it moving. All right. Nope. Nope. No. No. Nope. 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 So Social Security is on track to run out of money by 2034, when the retirement program would need to cut monthly benefits by 20%. The average retiree receives $1,976 a month, and that would drop to $1,600. The Social Security trust funds are now projected to run out by 2034, a year early than previously expected. If Congress doesn't intervene, retirees could face a 19% cut in their benefits. For the average retiree receiving $1,976 a month, that would drop their checks uh, to about $1,600. Why the depletion is happening, a new law, the Social Security Fairness Act, increased payments from about 3.2 million people, which added to the cost. A big wave of retirements, especially from baby boomers, and an aging population means more people are receiving benefits while fewer are paying in. More people are also applying early, with a 17% increase in filings so far in 2025. What it means for you: if the trust fund runs out, benefits won't stop, but they'll be reduced unless Congress finds a fix into the system. Raising the retirement age, which would effectively reduce lifetime benefits. Advocates argue that seniors should bear the burden and that wealthy Americans shouldn't bear the burden, that wealthy Americans should contribute more. Medicare is also under strain. Medicare, the health program for those over 65, is facing a shortfall in 2033. At that point, it will only be able to pay 89% of benefits unless action is taken. So, when it comes to Social Security, I'm not a bit, not, I don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I just know, a lot of people depends on it. And if they're going to be cutting it, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be an issue. I got all kind of calls coming in, folks, so I apologize. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be an issue, right? Um, Hopefully, whatever that needs to be done, they're doing it. I don't know about raising the retirement age. That sounds a little diabolical. I do believe wealthier individuals should be paying more into it. Not to just say, I'm not here to be like, just keep taking from the rich, because that don't make sense either. But, if you can lend, if you're making millions, billions, you lending a little towards Social Security for potentially, people in your family who don't have the opportunity that you have or are not as rich as you are. I don't really see that it should be an issue with that, right? But we'll keep an eye on. I just wanted to bring that up here. I just like to touch on life things that could affect you at some point in your life. That's what we're here to do. So we'll keep our eye on that as well. And if something comes down the pipe, we'll let you know immediately. All right, let's keep it moving. All right. Our boy, Governor Westmore. Drivers going 30 over the speed limit could face 2 months in jail, according to a new law signed by Governor Westmore. Wow. Okay. So starting October 1st, 2025, Maryland drivers caught going 30 miles per hour or more over the speed limit could face up to 60 days in jail, $1,000 fine, and 6 points on their license. Signed into law by Governor Westmore, the Sergeant Patrick Kemp Act reclassifies excessive speeding as reckless driving, a misdemeanor offense that now comes with a mandatory court appearances and tougher penalties. Also, beginning in October, speed cameras fines will increase based on how far over the limit you're driving. 30 to 39 miles per hour is $230. 40 plus mile per hour over, $425. The law is named after Sergeant Patrick Kemp, who lost his legs during a high-speed police response and aims to crack down on dangerous driving across the state. Bottom line, speeding 30 miles per hour over the limit in Maryland could soon land you in court or even jail. Wow, Westmore. Um, I'm assuming, a lot of this was spearheaded because of, um, the sergeant being, pretty much amputated, um, his legs being amputated. My sons live there, so when I see it, I'm like, wow, okay. 30 miles over the speed limit, right? You shouldn't be doing 30 miles over the speed limit at any time. But 2 months in jail is, I think, a bit much. You know, but we'll keep our eye on it. I've already talked to my sons about it. Like, man, look, you better slow it down if you're speeding, because you could potentially be behind bars for a little period of time. And 1 minute in jail is too much. 2 months, you know, you're losing your mind. So like I said, we'll keep our eye on that one. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a lot. That's definitely a lot. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, dismissed by DEI. Trump's purge made black women with stable federal jobs an easy target, right? Many of these being forced out by Trump's DEI purge are black women who spent decades building a career of government service, only to see those careers shattered. ProPublica interviewed three career civil servants who are among the hundreds of fired federal employees represented in a legal action brought against the Trump administration. The case filed in March contends the administration violated the First Amendment rights of employees, which has received less attention in the suit's claim that the administration violated the Civil Rights Act of 1964 because it disproportionately affected those who aren't white men. Wow. Um, when I seen this, like I said, I used to live in that area, so I know a lot of the civil servants, who built a life in that area, because they had the ability to be a civil servant, making good money, you know, and just providing a service, to the United States via the government. And a lot of those jobs have been taken away. And to be honest with you, for no real reason. So I'm all for anybody that's in a situation like this, where it's just affected your life, your family life. You know, a lot of people selling their homes. It's just bad, especially down in that Prince George County area. That's where I used to live at. It was known for being one of the wealthiest black counties in the United States. And I think a big part of that was because of civil servants. And a lot of those individuals that made that particular, I would love to see where that area fits now in that scheme of things of the wealthiest, because I just talked to people that's still there that were my friends while I was there, and they say it is a mess. So shout out to these ladies. I know they probably need as much recognition as they possibly can have or get, but it sounds like they got a good case. It sounds like on the other end of these type of cases, there's going to be an actual solution, that these folks can, be able to go to sleep at night. Because right now, I know it's been a lot of sleepless nights. So we'll keep our eye on that. I just wanted to bring that out because we don't want those folks to be forgotten about or to be left behind in any kind of way, right? All right, so let's keep it moving. Um, the Diddler. Where is he at? Newly released evidence photos from Diddy's LA house raid show fancy cases of baby oil throughout the home. His alleged drug mule testified that he moved the freak-offs to the residence after Cassie's lawsuits. Um, you know, wow. So Diddy's LA house raid shows, fancy cases of baby oil throughout. Diddy trial has reached the end of week 6. Today's Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, gave his testimony. I mean, it might have been Monday when he did, about working for the mogul. The Department of Justice also released never before seen photos of the items they retrieved from Diddy's LA house raid, including loads of baby oil, lubricant, and drugs. Paul, who was granted immunity in order to testify, says he worked as one of Diddy's personal assistants from late 2022 to March 2024, where he was arrested for cocaine possession. During his employment, he was tasked with getting drugs for Diddy, as well as setting up rooms with the required material for the freak-offs and cleaning up afterwards. Ugh. He claims the job was super demanding and he rarely had time for his social life. He would often take drugs with Diddy to prove his loyalty. Though people have dubbed him the drug mule for Diddy, Paul says he simply just got the drugs for Diddy. He never peddled out drugs to other people. Understand, he recalled the times he would have to clean up the freak-offs, or what he called wild king nights. He says he would often use gloves for sanitary reasons, but Paul says after Cassie's explosive lawsuit, Diddy stopped having the freak-offs at hotels and moved them to different residency, including Jane Doe's home. He even testified that he believed Jane Doe was absolutely a willing participant in the freak-offs. Later in the day, the DOJ released photos from the raid that took place at Diddy's LA home. Multiple fancy cases of baby oil and Astroglide were found in the home, as well as multiple different drug substances. In one picture of evidence, boxes of Astroglide are seen stacked against a wall, displaying how much stock of the lubricant Diddy actually owned. Today, the prosecution hoped to prove that Diddy ran an organized enterprise for sex and drugs by providing Paul's testimony of the different drugs he was ordered to buy and transport on behalf of the diddler. Man, this has been so crazy. I mean, Diddy, I don't even know what to say, man. Diddy at some point was, looked upon as one of the titans of the industry. And with all this, craziness that he's been a part of, I get people have their own vices, their own, fantasies or whatever. But just listening to everything, reviewing, the different evidence that has been displayed, Diddy was out here acting a straight fool. And I'm pretty sure he ain't the only one because he had to learn it from somebody, and somebody then learned it from him. So it's probably still ongoing, and some, people might be a little bit more cautious now because they see what the repercussions are. But even when Diddy got in trouble, he didn't stop the freak offs. He was still out here wilding. He was wilding on the day that he got caught. They found, stuff in the hotel room where he was preparing to, have one of his King's nights or whatever the hell you want to call it. Um, you know, so, this drug mule cat, Brendan Paul, he's going to just put another stake in Diddy's, future of being behind bars. I mean, he was caught with drugs. I mean, with Diddy. So he can say whatever he want to say about whatever. They just want to prove that, he was a part of the enterprise. And from what I could tell, he was. So they're trying to get him on Rico. And from everything that I've seen so far, I think Diddy about to go away for a very long time. They should be wrapping this case up this week. From every indication, I don't think the defense, I think yesterday they came out and said they don't have any witnesses, which is crazy. So that kind of tells you a lot right there that they don't have anybody and won't. It's amazing. All these people Diddy was supposed to be down with, not a one has come to the forefront. Kanye showed up for 2 seconds and was out of there. Other than that, nobody has showed this man any kind of love. So that just kind of lets you know how far away from, from him they are wanting to be. They don't have anything to do with this cat. And to be honest with you, based off of everything that we've heard, thus far, it would be tough to continue to be, hamming it up with, Mr. Astroglide himself. So we'll keep our eye on Diddy. Probably the next time we're here to do our show, we'll have some outcomes of, this. I think it's been about 2 months trial, that he didn't got himself into. So Diddy, man, shame on you, bro. Shame on you. All right. We always like to do this, right? First generation Detroit high school student award a full ride to Harvard and 11 other universities. A student who graduated as valedictorian from Detroit Cristo Rey High School in Southwest Detroit is heading to Harvard this fall after being accepted to all 11 colleges she applied to, each earning her a full ride scholarship. Kaylee Razzo at underscore KAY underscore RAZO, if you want to give her some love, who comes from a low income, first generation immigrant family, says she never imagined this moment. She opened her Harvard decision expecting rejection, but instead saw the word congratulations and immediately burst into tears while on FaceTime with her older brother. I reloaded the page over and over again, thinking it was a mistake, she said. Growing up, she never thought Harvard was an option, and she wasn't even planning to apply. No one from her family, no one from her school had ever been accepted to Harvard, and only one student before her had gotten into any Ivy League school. But she said she always hoped to be in a space where she could grow and be surrounded by passionate minds. Her father, born and raised in Mexico, never finished middle school. Her mother earned a GED while raising three children. The teen said their sacrifices taught her that education is a gift never to be taken for granted. She also thanked her teachers, campus ministers, and religious leaders for their support and for helping shape her values. In addition to Harvard, she was accepted to Yale, Princeton, Notre Dame, Georgetown, the University of Michigan, Washington University in St. Louis, Smith College, Occidental College, Michigan State University, and Oakland University, all with full ride scholarships. She was also awarded the prestigious Gates Scholarship and earned over 4.1 million in total scholarships. She planned to study government and economics on a pre-law track. Her goal is to open multiple pro bono immigration and family law firms to serve those who can't afford legal help. Her advice to students: pour your energy into things you love and find a way to use that passion to make a positive impact in your community. She said what kept her going was gratitude. I reminded myself that I didn't have to do my schoolwork or take on leaderships, but that I got to do those things. But I have to do those things. Right? I agree, girl. Good stuff. So that is, what's her name again? Kaylee Razzo. Big ups to Katie. Let's give her a round of applause because she deserves it, right? Yeah, you go, Katie. Harvard bound, straight out of Michigan, right? All right. So, good luck with it, Katie. Congratulations on all your success and hard work. You're a true example of hard work, and being smart and focused will get you to places you never thought you would be able to be, right? So big ups to her. And nothing but success. Like I said, a lot of times we bring these folks up, we don't know them. But when I come across stuff like that, I like to just kind of put it on the show because it could, lead to motivation to some older and younger folks who may be, looking at the podcast or whatever the case may be. I just like to bring that kind of energy to the show. So big ups to her. Like I said, nothing but well wishes for her and her family going forward. I hope she's able to accomplish her goals. All right, let's keep it moving. Men who lost their jobs and experienced financial instability are 33% more likely to be cheated on once the instability shifts relationship dynamics, study shows. Wow. New research shows that men without jobs are 33% more likely to be cheated on, highlighting the complex role financial stability plays in modern relationships. The studies found that unemployment can trigger shifts in power dynamics, attraction, and long term compatibility between partners. Economic stress can lead to emotional distancing, arguments, and weakened trust. In many cases, women may begin to reassess the viability of the relationship, particularly if they feel burdened or unsupported. The study noted this effect was even more pronounced in marriages where the woman was the sole earner. While the issue was layered, experts agree that financial strain often exaggerates exacerbate pre-existing problems. Addressing money and mental health openly remains essential in navigating relationships tension during tough economic times, right? Um, you know, I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that, guys. You got to stay on your grind, man. Nobody really wants anybody, especially as you get older. You got to have some bank, man. You got to have at least, a way to generate income somehow, some way. You know, uh, when you connect with folks, it's supposed to be a partnership. Sometimes things might go great, and your partner has your back, and vice versa. But you can't just be sitting around not getting no money, expecting a person to just stick around. Or people, you only have one life to live. Typically when you're unemployed, you're depressed. You're walking around, having a household on pins and needles because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, or you didn't have a plan B just in case. Right? So I can't really be mad at this, because that's just the ways of the world. Women, want to be protected. They want to be provided for. And as a man, that's what you're supposed to be out here doing if you got a woman. So, if you run into a situation of being unemployed, you cannot sit around and be dwelling on it. You got to be almost the day after you find out that you unemployed, you got to be on your grind, figuring out a way, to bring some income into that household. I don't care if you got to go get 2, 3 jobs. It don't matter. Or you got to always have you a side hustle that could at any moment turn into a permanent fix for you. I would suggest that would be probably the best route to go. So man, if you lose your job, you still got to be on your grind, man. You know, that's just the way it is, man. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always been. So that ain't gonna stop. You know, 33% more likely to be cheated on. Look here, women. If your guy's unemployed, don't be out here cheating. Just leave him. Let him be. Because cheating don't do nothing but put yourself in harm. This man is already stressed out, and he figuring out out here, doing your 1-2. A lot of folks can't come back from that, lady. So you better be careful when you out here cheating because your man didn't, he can't be the man he was when he was employed, right? If worst case scenario, if he can't figure it out quickly, then it just nobody is forcing you to be with anybody. If you feel like this man can't provide for you, protect you, then it's up to you to figure out a way to move on. It doesn't mean it's a pass for you to go out here and be in these streets, because being in these streets don't help you. And like I said, the outcome could be devastating. So be careful, ladies, when you're out here, cheating on your injured man. Because unless he did it on his own, sometimes unemployment doesn't come, from him not doing what he was supposed to do. It could be coming from what the company wasn't doing. So be careful, sit down, be mature, have a conversation, and let your man know that you can no longer, stay in a relationship and you're going to move forward. You know, all that cheating and hiding stuff and, doing all that crazy stuff. You're going to put yourself in a bind that you might not be able to get yourself out. And we've been seeing quite a few cases of men unaliving, their ladies, for less of a reason. So be careful, ladies. All right, let's keep it moving. Ba, 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 ba. We'll talk about this and then we're going to get into our mortgage hacks. because I know some folks out there might be doing this craziness. But now, buy now, pay later will now factor into your credit score after Klarna reported over 130 million in unpaid customer debt. This is crazy. How Americans handle their buy now, pay later loans might soon start impacting their credit scores. FICO is planning to roll out a new set of credit scoring models later this year that include buy now, pay later activity. This move will give lenders clear insight into how people are paying back these short term installment loans, something that has largely gone untracked until now. Buy now, pay later services have become a popular alternative to credit cards, especially for those for more flexible payment options, trying to get through a financial pinch or spreading out larger purchases to make them more manageable. Depending on how someone uses buy now, pay later, having this data added to FICO scores 10 and score 10T models could either boost their credit or hurt it. I mean, that's, once again, pay your bills at the end of the day, because if not, it's going to affect your credit. I mean, this is like the modern day layaway, so to speak. But you get to actually, take the merchandise before you make your final payment. So if you're gonna do these types of things, make your payments, because you thought you was able to get away with it in the past. It sounds like that's in the past. If you try to do it now, sounds like they're gonna charge into your credit, which is major, because every month you don't pay it, then it's gonna hit your credit again. Keep hitting it and keep hitting it until your scores is in the trash. So be careful out here, guys, when you make these kind of money moves, because it can affect you long term, right? So we'll keep our eye on that, and we'll bring it to the forefront once some additional information comes forward. All right, all right. So billionaire media mogul Byron Allen just won a 10 billion racial discrimination case against McDonald's, plus another 100 million in a separate lawsuit. Man, back in 2021, Allen filed a $10 billion lawsuit against McDonald's for excluding black owned media from its major ad buys, placing them in a separate, unequal tier. The same day the suit was filed, McDonald's had just promised to increase ad spending with black media from 2% to 5% by 2024. Allen said that didn't follow through, so he took them to court. Now, just weeks before trial, McDonald's has agreed to settle not only the $10 billion federal lawsuit, but also a $100 million state case. As part of the deal, McDonald's will begin buying ads at market value from Allen's company, including entertainment studios and the Welder Group. While they admit no wrongdoing, this is a major win for black owned media and corporate accountability. Wow, BA. Man, it's crazy, because I just remember um, Byron, not Brian. Byron he's been around, man, for a while. He was like one of those, he was like a OJ with some sense. He was plucking away. He had like a show. It was like not a reality show. It was like a sports show that came on like an offbeat channel back in the day, but he stayed on the air for like years. I just remember, watching him. He used to have some great interviews too. He used to, interview the greats. And then he got into his entrepreneur. Well, he was in his entrepreneur bag at that point, But then he started buying other companies, other media companies, and he just turned it into a conglomerate, became a billionaire. And now he's out here still doing this 1-2 for our people. And let's get Byrne, man. Let's give him a round of applause, man. Swear to God. Right. Big up to Byrne and Allen, man, for standing on your 1-2, not being afraid of the system, and fighting when you need to fight. Because sometimes you got to fight. I mean, you can't just lay down and let people just roll over you. And I think that's what Byrne did here. So big ups to Byrne. Nothing but continued success. Maybe one day, I'll get to do some business with you. Who knows? I'm in the media space now, so I might have to, reach out and see if I can get in where I fit in. It seemed like you got the bag over there. So we'll keep our eyes on BA and see, what he's out here doing in the up and coming years. Okay. All right. So that's it for our articles breakdown, our stuff, right? Our ability to look at current events and come here and talk about them, the current events that I want to talk about, that I think if you're listening to me, it can potentially make a difference in your life. If not in your life, the information can potentially, make a difference in somebody you may know's life, right? But anyway, let's keep it moving. Mortgage and real estate hacks. All right, let's get it in. Let's get into it. Hack number 1. Student loan hack for FHA borrowers. Use your income-based repayment to reduce your debt-to-income ratio and qualify for better FHA rates. Guys, let's use income-based repayment to reduce your debt-to-income ratio and qualify for better FHA rates, right? That's hack number 1. Hack number 2, ask for rate locks with float down options. And what that means, if rates fall, this protects you as a client without penalty, right? So if the rates fall while you're rate locked, then it protects you without penalty. Good hack. All right. Hack number 3, invest in cities with wage growth but low cost of living. Think places like Detroit, Buffalo, Tulsa for value and velocity, right? That's invest in cities with wage growth but low cost of living. Places like Detroit, Buffalo, Tulsa, that has value and velocity. Good hack, guys. Good hack. Right? And then last but not least, hack number 4, use grant programs for down payment assistance. State level grants and forgivable loans are still out there, folks. Don't miss free money. Always do your due diligence before you get ready to make a major purchase, right? And here they have state level grants and forgivable loans that's still out there and available. So when you're trying to purchase a home as a home buyer, then always be looking out for stuff like that. All right. So that is our 4 hacks. And now we're going to do a quick deep dive on a company. Where are we at? It is eMortgage Capital, right? I just wanted to kind of bring them up and talk about them because they have a product, HELOC is one of their products. And I just thought, that would be a good thing to really talk about real quick. All right, so we're going to bring them up right now. Okay. Got it. So I'm going to fade to black and bring them up. Let them do what they do. All right.
Welcome to this deep dive. Imagine you're a mortgage loan officer, right? An MLO.
Mm-hmm.
And you're constantly feeling, well, squeezed, trying to get good rates for clients, make a decent living yourself.
But wrestling with all the paperwork, the back end stuff.
Exactly. And then these unexpected fees just pop up and eat into your commission. It's a common story.
It really is.
So today we're looking at how one company, eMortgage Capital, positions its own model, quite a unique one actually, to solve these big pain points.
And we're drawing this straight from like how they describe themselves, their own narrative.
Yeah, we're going to unpack their claims, see what their approach really means.
Okay, well, what jumps out immediately from the source material is how clearly it maps out those common frustrations. The things MLOs grapple with all the time.
Like what specifically?
Well, that core tension, right? Wanting better margins for themselves, but also needing to offer the absolute best rates to compete.
That's a tough balance.
It is. And needing solid support, like real support for data, for marketing, coaching even, plus feeling buried under all those third-party fees. And, just needing more options, more investors, more types of loan products, just to get more deals across the finish line. It makes you wonder, how can one company realistically tackle all of that?
Right. Because it's a pretty wide range of issues. So how does eMortgage Capital actually propose to, cut through all that noise?
They have a specific answer?
What they call their hybrid broker-banker model. Okay, so what does that actually mean in practice? Is it just a fancy term?
Well, they claim it gives MLOs the best of both setups.
Yeah.
So you get the wider product selection and potentially higher pay you might associate with being a broker, but also the speed, the faster closing times, the sort of direct control you get with a direct lender, a banker.
So flexibility is key there.
That seems to be the idea. Suggest MLOs can kind of fundamentally operate differently.
So connecting that to the bigger picture then, this hybrid approach lets MLOs choose their strategy.
Exactly. Optimize might be the word. They can go for max compensation, acting more like a broker, or they can push for speed, acting more like a banker. It depends on the deal, the client.
Okay, and how do they back that up? What are the tangible things they offer?
Well, the source lists quite a few. Competitive rates, obviously, but with this phrase, no padded pricing.
Meaning transparent pricing, presumably? What you see is what you get.
That seems to be the implication.
Yeah.
And then there's complete EPO protection, early payoff protection.
That's important. Those clawbacks can be brutal.
Yeah, losing commission if a loan pays off too soon. MLOs hate that. This apparently shields them. Plus a full tech stack.
Right.
Things like EMC flow on Salesforce, automated marketing tools, apps that work easily on mobile. And the reach seems pretty broad too, access to over 160 lenders.
Wow.
Yeah, and licensed in, 46 states?
Yeah.
So pretty wide coverage.
And what about those fees we mentioned earlier?
That's another big differentiator they highlight. Zero hidden fees. So no sneaky third-party charges, no tech fees, no admin fees coming off the top of your commission.
That sounds very appealing if you're an MLO.
It certainly addresses a major pain point head-on.
And it's interesting seeing how this seems rooted in personal experience. The source mentions Joseph Shellaby, the founder and CEO.
Right, a top producer himself, according to the Scotsman Guide, for 5 years.
And he apparently says quite explicitly that he built this whole platform to get rid of the exact things that frustrated him.
Like slow turn times, padded rate sheets.
Restrictive guidelines, the surprise fees again, the stuff we've been talking about.
Building the solution he wished he'd had.
And the numbers they mention suggest it's working, at least at scale. Over 12,000 deals funded last year, more than $5 billion total.
That's significant volume.
And being ranked the #1 non-delegated mortgage banker 4 years running. That non-delegated part means they lend their own funds but use partners for servicing, right? Another layer of flexibility, maybe.
Potentially, yeah. It's a specific operational model.
So for an MLO out there listening, maybe feeling some of those frustrations, what's the sort of immediate takeaway from EMC's approach here?
Well, I think look at eMortgage Capital really drives home a powerful idea. When you build a business model directly from, lived experience, solving problems you personally faced, that can create a really compelling solution to problems that affect a whole industry. It shows how zeroing in on specific pain points, like Shalaby did, can lead to real impact, real success.
It's a strong case study in problem solving.
Definitely. So thinking about that, maybe the question for you listening is, beyond just fixing current frustrations, what are the sort of fundamental assumptions about how things have to work in your field that maybe could be challenged? What could unlock completely new ways of doing things, new value?
Come on, back up. All right, so that was a quick little 1-2 on eMortgage Capital. One of the agile lending firms in the industry, whether you're an investor, first-time home buyer, or loan officer, they could potentially be a company you want to check out. And that's emortgagecapital.com. So go check them out when you get a second. We're going to wrap it up here, guys. It's been fun. It's always good to be here with you guys. We kind of went through a lot today, but this is unapologetically one of those episodes here at Mortgage Mayhem, and we like to just give special thanks to all that's involved. And if you're getting value from the podcast or me going live, hit subscribe, leave me a review, or DM me your thoughts. And remember, whether it's your credit score, your career, or your capital, power is in your hands. Until next time, stay smart, stay fearless, and stay financially dangerous. Peace. And we out, people. Have a good week. We'll be back to you this time next week, if the Lord's willing.